Amy, hey, congratulations for She Dies Tomorrow.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, I bet you didn't know about the timing of this entire situation in your film. I mean, how do you feel about that?
I mean, there's part of me that wishes that I did know, because then I could like in some way help the situation. but no, yeah, it's very surreal. It's very strange. It's very strange to talk about it because I made it, a year before any of this was happening. So it's been interesting because people are engaging with it in a way that I would have never imagined. And it's very strange to me.
You think audiences will pick up on something like this? I mean, the timing is impeccable.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like several things that people are picking up with, and a lot of, or at least from, I mean, you guys, the press are the only people that I've actually engaged in talking to about it. But I think that there's a lot in the movie that people are actually responding to, which is the sort of isolation that the film explores in sort of the feelings of fear and fear of death, and how isolating that can make you feel. But yeah, I really wish it was not happening this way, but at the same time, it's been a very interesting process to engage with people about their own experiences during a pandemic and during something that's, a contagion of sorts. It's been interesting to talk to people because it's sort of like an access point for me to get to know what you guys are going through.
Now, you mentioned that you made the movie a long time ago, over a year ago. So what initiated, what spawned the original idea for She Dies Tomorrow?
I was dealing with a lot of anxiety, and I was trying to explore like what the root of my anxiety was, and I realized that the root of most anxiety there's a fear of death, and the fear of of the inevitable, and that like that death is so finite, and there's something incredibly like sort of unsettling about that. Because if you live forever, your day, like the things that make you anxious wouldn't actually make you anxious. But the reason that you feel anxiety is because there's an ending point. And whether it's you're afraid of being murdered, or you're afraid of just suddenly having a heart attack, or you're afraid of, dying in a car crash, all of the multiple ways that I think about dying, it's sort of at the root of anxiety. And so I wanted to make a film that touched on that. And as opposed to, I always describe it as like, it's a monster movie without actually seeing the monster. And like horror films and genre films, a lot of it is really just dealing with death. I wanted to make something that was just like, took away the artifice and was just like, it's about death. It's the fear of death is the thing that's contagious. And it is the secret monster, which is just death in general.
Now, I mean, I looked at the movie when I was watching it because I feel I consider it like a emo movie, and I kind of felt the emotions through the movie. But you sprinkled a few humorous moments through that. Is that like part of your style?
Yes, I mean, I would consider the film to be sort of an absurdist horror movie, or absurdist thriller in a way. And part of it is because like when I talk about like anxiety, is that I realize when I'm going through some of these phases of being incredibly anxious that I'm incredibly self-indulgent, and in allowing myself to explore these emotions. And I listen to sad music, and which is in the film, like listening to Requiem over and over and over again, and I'm extremely dramatic about my turmoil. But then I also have this other side of myself where I'm able to laugh at myself and objectively know how indulgent and how absurd my own sort of like chaos, inner chaos is actually quite humorous if you, from a different angle, from a different perspective, which is, sort of how we shot the movie in these subjective, very close and very subjective, like colorful ways. But then we pop out and show it looks from the outside, and they look crazy. And so that was like the playful nature of me sort of poking fun at myself, at like, I realized that my indulgence is also humorous if you change the perspective.
Could you talk about the cinematography, the usage of colors and shadows throughout the entire movie? Because it was very, I want to describe it as hypnotizing, and I know that was purposeful.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like when it gets very colorful. I mean, when it gets very colorful, and the our use of color of sort of like draining scenes out and desaturating things in certain moments, and then being really playful of like what the characters are seeing subjectively. You know, those moments of like where it's very vibrant and fluorescent, and they're experiencing the feeling of they have the knowledge that they're going to die tomorrow. I wanted those to feel euphoric and scary, and like a rush of emotion all at once, and just like overwhelming colors and overwhelming sound design and overwhelming performances of like their feeling of like a rush of every single emotion all at once. And then to juxtapose that with the I guess like a more sort of mundaneness or a domestic look of the film, where it's like mixed with this objective, you know, sort of color palette of like domesticity in a way, or mundaneness. And with Jay, the cinematographer, we always really like to play and see how far we can go and push things as far in a direction as we can go, because like, why not? We're making an independent film, and we should go as far as we possibly can, without losing taste. But yeah.
Absolutely. And let me wrap it up with one more thing, because I personally love independent films, but this is being your second feature film. What is the lure of independent filmmaking to you?
Well, for me, I mean, both the films that I've made are, I'm the only one answering the questions, I mean, I'm collaborating with I'm very lucky, a lot of extremely brilliant people, brilliant performers, and Jay, who I think is brilliant as well. But it's a much more instinctual form of filmmaking. You're allowed to follow your instincts, as opposed to, I direct a lot of television. You've got to execute a very specific script. Whereas with I say this, but both the shows that I directed, I had the luxury of them letting me do whatever I wanted as well. but still, you're on a different timeline in television, and you have to execute episodes within 4 days, 5 days. With independent film, like I can make up, like I decide when I'm done shooting. I decide when the movie's like done. And especially with both my films, the amount of money that I made them for, it's very easy and nimble for me to decide when the movie's done. So I have this it's just incredibly addictive, because as an artist, you're always searching for the way that you can truly get to the heart of what you're trying to express. And sometimes it's just that freedom to be able to do whatever you want.
Excellent. Hey, thank you very much, Amy, for this conversation. I really enjoyed your film, and hopefully the rest of the world get to see it.
Great. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. Bye now.
Bye.